Hi everybody, hope you're all safe and well. And as we continue on our journey in Guitar 1 with chords, we are talking about Chapter 6 in this video. And we want to talk about accompaniment a little bit more now. Your job as a guitar player in supporting the singer or melody. So again, we have two parts in music, two main components, and that's the melody, the singer's part, or the single note tune of a song, and the harmony, the supportive accompaniment role, melody and harmony. And by introducing these simple songs on page 42 in the Disler PDFs, we see her trying to get us to understand those components by showing Row, Row, Row Your Boat, Farajaka, and Hey Ho, Nobody Home. And what she's saying is that each of these songs can be accompanied with one chord. They really might have more than one, but the melodies are simple enough that one chord can support or accompany the melody. So if I look at Row, Row, Row Your Boat and I play a C chord, she's saying that the chord you start with will be the starting note of the melody for your singing voice, or again, just so you can think it in your head or try and hum it. But it allows me to hum or sing the melody and now just strum quarter notes and hear the difference of the two parts and then how they connect together as a melody on top and an accompaniment supporting. Remember, the chords are the supportive part. They're not the main player. The star of the show is the tune, the melody. So so we see again the melody is really the identity of the song and the chords are supporting. Okay, so melody and chords. And again, you can experiment with each one of those tunes on your own. If I go over to the next page, page 43, she says, with a musical example, think in two layers, playing and singing. And again, I have a little trouble with the language here because it can be confusing for some of us who are just getting into music. Playing and singing. Well, we can play the melody and we can play the chords. So when she says playing, she means strumming. She means harmony, accompaniment. And when she says singing, she means the tune or the melody. So playing or strumming is harmony, that's one component, and singing is another. The guitar accompaniment blends with the singing line, but is not identical. It coordinates in two ways. Harmony, the chord, that's what we're doing, making a chord. The chord sounds blend with the melody. And it's because they come from the same group of notes, a scale. That's why we learned how to build a scale, because the chords are built from scales and they, again, will coalesce with each other. So the chord sounds blend with the melody but are not identical. We can have stacks of notes that include notes that are not from the melody but maybe from the scale. And again, there's variations on that too. And the rhythmic pulse. Again, this is why it's so important not to practice a mistake or practice stopping unknowingly, really. We don't do that on purpose as guitar players, but we're trying to get to the next chord. But what we really should be doing is practicing rhythmically, because we are the drums and the harmony, rhythm and harmony. The rhythmic pulse, she says, the guitar plays at the same tempo or speed as the singing. Same tempo or speed as the singing. So we have to have the same beat or speed in terms of beat or metronomic marking. A metronomic marking in MM, you might see at the top of the music, it'll say MM equals 95. For a quarter note, they'll show you the rhythm that equals that marking. So you can get a metronome out, electronic or otherwise, and find 95 and say, oh, that's what the quarter note should be. That's how fast it should be. Sometimes it says BPM, beats per minute. So metronome marking or BPM is the beats. So when you say 95, that's how many beats are per minute. So when you see that indication at the top of the music, that's not just some little scribble. They're giving you a suggestion for tempo. The rhythmic pulse The guitar plays the same tempo or speed as the singing. The pulse is determined by the number of beats per measure and by the style of song itself, slow, medium, or fast. So we think of how fast do we play and how many beats are in a group. Ultimately important, how many beats are in a group. That's how I know when to change chords or for how long to hold on to a chord. And that's what's going to give it its overall character, like a waltz. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That is ultimately important, again, for character of the music. One thing we have to point out now again, and I'll mention over and over, is you do not play the singer's rhythm, okay? So the singer's rhythm is a identifying factor of the song. So if the drummer is playing that same rhythm and not a beat, not a nice, clean, repetitive beat, we call that an ostinato in music. And when we have a strumming pattern that repeats over and over on guitar, that's an ostinato figure or a repeated figure. Then we become a distraction. We cover up the singer. We want to support the singer with a clear, repeated pattern. So there's a song called Hey Ho, Nobody Home, and that's the main melody. Again, it identifies the song very clearly with rhythmic patterns and the actual melodic notes that are chosen. And if I played this, I would be trampling the vocal part or the melody. I would just be crushing it. And if I was working with any kind of singer who had any experience at all, they would look over at you and go, what are you doing? You are supposed to be supporting me here and you're ruining my part. You're covering up my part. So I would be doing something much simpler. Nobody home, eat no drink, no money have I none. That doesn't mean I can't get creative and come up with a pattern that's maybe inspired by the music. But again, notice it's repetitive and it supports the music. That would be another pattern. There I played just the root. Again, there's a reason why we've been identifying the root string. We're going to get more and more technical, and we're going to find some patterns where we separate the root or do some different things with the root as a bass note or bass line. There I played bass, chord, bass and chord, bass and chord, and bass and chord. So again, you see how nicely that just creates a bed, a supportive role, and it's a lot of fun. I have to tell you, I mean, rhythm playing, sometimes we look at lead guitar and these different virtuosic things guitar players can do as something to strive for. Rhythm playing can be a great and gratifying thing, and it's a job we most often have to do as a guitar player. If you're in a band, if you're supporting a singer, if you're singing and playing yourself, you're accompanying all the time. And it is a lot of fun because you can get really creative with different styles and patterns and listening. So that would be the little recommendation for you I have right now is when you're listening to your favorite music, things you enjoy. I don't care if it's stuff your parents turned you on to or stuff you found on your own that's really modern. Listen to the guitar parts or the band in general. Start dissecting what's happening. What's the bass doing? What's the drum pattern like? How is the guitar fitting in or the keyboard? But the guitar in particular, start listening to the neat things that guitar players come up with to make things work. You're going to hear things you didn't expect. We think of this strumming that guitar players do all the time, but there are so many different variations, including the one I just played, bass chord. That is just a simple breakdown of separating the root from the chord, but it makes all the difference in the world, and it makes the parts interesting. So listen, listen, listen. That's the biggest lesson that all musicians talk about of every style and of every instrument. The more you can listen and react, the more you can listen and learn, the quicker you become a more accomplished player, and the more and more you enjoy the music you're listening to, because you start to understand the parts more and more. So, continuing on, we get to what she calls letter C here, and this is really the meat and potatoes of the chapter as far as what we're trying to get out of it for our knowledge, getting one more rung up the ladder, and for our testing material too. This says, music charts, the three basic elements. Chords add harmony and depth of sound, and rhythm, movement, to the vocal line of a song. Again, supporting, but giving different complexities on the bottom. Three elements are required to play a chord accompaniment. And here they are, and this is what you got to remember. The time signature, okay? The time signature. What is the number of beats in a group? That's basically what we're thinking of. 4/4, 3/4, 2/4. And we can get into some more complex time discussions down the road, but for now, everything has 4 on the bottom, which means the quarter note gets 1 beat. The next thing we need to know, number 2, measure lines. Why is that so important? Because that groups the number of beats that is the repeated cell. 4 beats in a row, 4 beats in a row, 3 beats in a row, 3 beats in a row, 2 beats in a row, depending on what the time signature says. And that tells me how long I'm going to play a chord. If it's G for 3 measures and then a C chord for 2 measures, that starts to give me a very clear map of how long each chord is going to last. And then chord names will actually be the harmony you're going to play. So I've mentioned before, a lot of you might look online and you see a song from one of the websites we won't mention, because there's so many now, and it shows you lyrics and chord names above the lyrics. Well, if you've never heard that song before, you can't even have a clue on how to put that together. If you've heard it before, you might be able to imitate what you know in your mind from oral memory. But what a lot of those things are missing is there's no time signature given. So again, when you're making your own chart or doing something with a band or a group or trying to write a song, time signature. Then what chord are you going to play? Well, that's what the charts online we find give us. They show the chord. And then measure lines. Again, something missing from those online charts. So those are 2 major components, because I don't know how long to keep strumming a chord. If there's no measure line, where do I stop playing that chord? Do I stop arbitrarily? I don't know. So if there's a time signature and a chord name and then a measure line, I know I play that for 1 measure. No new chord given, I continue to play the same chord. So remember that rule. If there's no new chord given in a measure, you continue the same chord or harmony until you get a new chord. And I've been using chord charts for years in, again, all different types of projects and songwriting ideas that I'm trying to sketch down quickly. But if I have a rehearsal with the group and I've figured out a cover song, or I've written something or arranged something that I want them to play, a simple chord chart is a great way for a bass player to be able to look at what you're doing and know the roots of the chords, a keyboard player to look at it and be able to play chords, or another guitar player, or even a singer to see the structure of the song and when the changes of chords and parts are coming up. So with the chord name, she says these are either above the music staff or within the bar lines of the chart. The chord only changes to new chords when they are written in. Again, the same chord is played and continued until a new chord is shown. And then there is a very simple chord chart shown there on page 44. The above sample chart has 4 measures. The top number of the time is the time. The top number of the time signature indicates the 3 beats in each measure. That means you're going to strum the chord 3 times, and the 3 beats is multiplied by 4 measures. That means there are a total of 12 beats shown in this simple chord chart. 3 beats, 3 beats, 3 beats, 3 beats. Again, the measure lines are the key to that. And to just kind of wrap up this chapter, there are several exercises listed at the end of chapter 6. So I will touch on that a little bit in the next video. For now, good luck and have a great day.